At the Golden Sheen Palace, Rei proudly admired the embroidery she had spent countless hours creating. Her loyal head lady, Toastsu, praised it and believed it would steal the spotlight at the Double Sevens festival. While talking, Toastsu noticed Rei's fever, but Rei insisted on attending the festival anyway, eager to witness the rare comet and meteor shower and make a wish beneath it. That evening, the maidens gathered before Emperor Io, Empress Koenshu, and Crown Prince Ai. Among them was Keigetsu, who glared at Rei with jealousy. When everyone presented their embroidery, Rei effortlessly captured the Crown Prince's attention. As the inner court's ideal future consort, beautiful, elegant, intelligent, and from a powerful family, she was admired by all. Keigetsu, meanwhile, was ridiculed as the court's sewer rat, mocked for her appearance and outdated fashion despite serving under noble consort Shuabi. As the meteor shower began, Rei closed her eyes to make a wish. Taking advantage of the distraction, Keigetsu shoved her off the pagoda. At that exact moment, lanterns burst into flames, dark clouds covered the sky, and the beautiful night suddenly resembled the start of an apocalypse. Keigetsu also collapsed, and everything went black. Rei later awoke inside a prison cell, where Toastsu declared that Keigetsu would be executed for trying to murder Reirin. Looking into a puddle, Rei realized in horror that she was trapped inside Keigetsu's body. They had somehow switched bodies during the fall. Desperate, Rei tried to explain the truth, but an invisible force prevented her from saying she was Reirin. She instead revealed personal details only the real Rei should know, like Toastsu's favorite scarlet bean mooncakes, her favorite fish, horse mackerel, and her younger brother. But Toastsu dismissed everything, convinced Keigetsu had stolen Rei's diary and memorized its contents despite the fact that Rei had never kept a diary. Toastsu explained that after the accident, Rei's body was found bruised and burning with a fever. While unconscious, Rei had supposedly muttered about her stolen diary, making Toastsu believe Keigetsu had stolen both her diary and memories to impersonate her. Seeing Rei blush from embarrassment as she praised her, Toastsu mistook it as Keigetsu shamelessly mocking her beloved mistress. Following the inner court's laws, Keigetsu was sentenced to the lion's judgment, where the accused was locked in a cage with a starving lion. Survival meant innocence, death meant guilt. The woman inside Rei's body refused to attend the trial, claiming she was too delicate to watch such violence. Before leaving, Toastsu placed a poison pill in the cell, saying it was Reirin's final act of mercy. If Keigetsu truly regretted her crimes, she should take the poison before the candle burned out instead of facing the lion. Once Toastsu left, Keigetsu's voice echoed through the dungeon, gleefully telling Rei that this nightmare was her punishment. She mocked the filthy, rat-infested cell and urged Rei to take the poison before fear drove her mad. Then something strange happened. The candle's flames suddenly turned bright red and grew larger. Keigetsu's face appeared inside the fire itself. The Shu clan were known as the Children of Fire, but Keigetsu possessed an especially powerful ability. By controlling flames, she could project her image through them. Using a forbidden spell, she had successfully swapped bodies with Reirin. Now, the real Rei was trapped inside the body of the very woman who had tried to kill her, while the real villain was living comfortably in Rei's perfect life. Talk about stealing someone's identity the hard way. Keigetsu believed she was only making life fair. In her eyes, Rei had been blessed since birth as the Empress's beloved niece, the Crown Prince's favorite, and admired by everyone in the inner court. Keigetsu, on the other hand, served the kind but politically weak noble consort Shu, endured constant bullying, was mocked for her appearance, and ignored by the Crown Prince. Consumed by jealousy, she decided Rei deserved to experience the misery she had always known. To guarantee her plan succeeded, Keigetsu placed a powerful curse on her own body, preventing Rei from revealing the body swap. She also invented the story about the stolen diary, so any personal secret Rei revealed would be dismissed as something Keigetsu had memorized. No matter what Rei said, she had no way to prove her true identity. Even after stealing Rei's life, Keigetsu wasn't satisfied. She complained that Rei's body was so frail it became exhausted just from breathing. Out of habit, Rei kindly suggested she rest, but Keigetsu laughed it off, reminding her that Rei would soon be dead anyway. Even taking the poison wouldn't spare Rei humiliation. Anyone who died before the lion's judgment had their corpse dragged to the execution grounds, where it was pelted with stones and publicly insulted. After promising Rei the most miserable ending possible, Keigetsu vanished into the flames. Rei had never imagined forbidden magic like body swapping existed, and she couldn't understand why Keigetsu hated her so deeply. Then she noticed something astonishing. Her fever was gone, her limbs no longer ached, her breathing was steady, and her heartbeat was calm. For the first time in years, she felt completely healthy. Instead of despairing, Rei was overjoyed. After spending her entire life battling illness and studying medicine in search of a cure, she realized Keigetsu's body was naturally strong and healthy. Maybe this body swap wasn't entirely a disaster after all. Back in the dungeon, Rei treated the rats like old friends since they had helped with her medical experiments. When she spotted a bug, she cheerfully decided it was dinner for her tiny companions. Keigetsu had expected Rei to be terrified, but instead, she acted as if she were running a petting zoo. Meanwhile, Captain Shinu waited beside the lion's cage, privately thinking this trial was far crueler than a normal execution. When Crown Prince Gil arrived to begin the lion's judgment, he asked if anyone wished to feed the starving lion to make the trial less deadly. Noble consort Shu refused, declaring that if Keigetsu was innocent, heaven would protect her. Otherwise, the Shu clan would disown her. Rei, still trapped inside Keigetsu's body, was brought before the crowd. Gil accused her of pushing his beloved Reirin, even though no one had actually witnessed the incident. Rei tried once again to reveal her true identity, but the curse silenced her every time. Gil offered one final chance, confess and apologize, and he would replace the lion with a swift execution. Rei instead begged him to listen, reminding him he was both a wise future ruler and her dear cousin. But hearing Keigetsu call him that only enraged him, since only the real Reirin had the right. To make matters worse, Rei accidentally agreed with his accusation, making herself look even guiltier. Locked inside the lion's cage, Rei remained surprisingly calm. When Shinu asked if she feared death, she replied that she had spent her life standing on death's doorstep. Until she was actually dead or the lion actually bit her, there was no point fearing what hadn't happened yet. To everyone's surprise, the lion refused to attack, making the crowd wonder if Keigetsu might truly be innocent. Growing impatient, Gil ordered Shinu to provoke it. Shinu warned that interfering would make the trial unfair, but as captain of the Eagle Eyes, he had no choice but to obey. The moment he poked the lion with his sword, the furious beast charged at Rei. She dodged its first attack and tried to calm it down, but the beast quickly turned and lunged again. Just when it looked like Rei had run out of luck, the lion suddenly collapsed. Shinu immediately realized it had been poisoned and demanded an explanation. Rei sincerely apologized and explained that the lion's poisoning was an accident. Earlier, a rat had eaten part of the poison pill Tosetsu left in her cell. Feeling sorry for it, Rei had kept the dead rat and the remaining poison hidden in her sleeve so she could bury it later. She never expected the charging lion to swallow the poisoned rat. Because the lion failed to kill or eat the accused, the ancient rules of the lion's judgment declared Keigetsu innocent. Although Crown Prince Gil reluctantly accepted the verdict, he made it clear that he still believed Keigetsu was guilty. He warned that if she ever insulted Reirin again, acted suspiciously, or tried to take Rei's place, he would personally execute her. Unable to reveal the truth because of the curse, Rei could only bow and accept the warning. After the trial ended and everyone departed, Rei's first concern wasn't her own survival, it was finding medicine to save the poisoned lion. Before she left, Captain Shinu stopped her and asked if she had always been this kind. Unable to explain the body swap, Rei simply replied that she wasn't the same person she used to be. The answer only made Shinu more suspicious. Later, Riri escorted the now innocent Keigetsu back to the maiden court. Following noble consort Gabby's orders, Riri escorted Rei to her new home. That was bad news for Rei because Riri had served Keigetsu for the past year. If anyone could tell that the person inside Keigetsu's body had completely changed, it would be her. Riri wasn't just another maid, she was sharp, observant, and potentially very dangerous. The Shu clan was one of the kingdom's 5 great clans. They ruled the southern lands and were famous for their bright red hair and golden eyes. When they arrived at the Shu palace, Rei asked if she could meet noble consort Gabby. In the inner court, a consort and her maiden were supposed to share a bond like mother and daughter. but Riri refused immediately. Gabby had ordered her to keep Ketsu far away and never let her near. Rei couldn't understand noble consort Gabby's actions. If Rei had been accused of attempted murder, her aunt, the Empress, would have at least listened to her explanation before passing judgment. Gabby, however, didn't even give Ketsu a chance, which was strange because she was known for showing kindness to even the smallest insects. Why would someone so gentle abandon the very maiden she had personally chosen? As they walked through the Shoe Palace, the attendants openly mocked Rei and Riri, calling them a pair of rats. Back at the Palace, Rei had always been treated with kindness, but surprisingly, she didn't mind the insults. For the first time, no one was hovering over her fragile body, and she finally felt free to live on her own. That dream quickly hit reality when they reached her new home, a filthy, abandoned pantry at the edge of the Shoe Estate, right beside the Ran clan's territory. Ketsu hadn't simply been relocated, she had been completely exiled. Riri angrily blamed Ketsu for their situation. Forced to keep serving the woman who had supposedly tried to kill Rei, she felt as though she had received a life sentence. After enduring a year of insults about being the daughter of a dancer, Riri had no sympathy left. Rei guessed that Riri's red hair, golden eyes, and mixed heritage were the reason she held the lowest rank among the court ladies. Before leaving, Riri ordered Rei to clean the entire building and wash all the laundry by herself. None of Ketsu's former servants were willing to help, and noble consort Gabby had even banned her from attending the Ghost Festival in 7 days. Riri was certain Ketsu would finally break under the pressure. Instead of falling into despair, Rei looked around with sparkling eyes as if she had been given a palace. The abandoned land had rich soil, plenty of space, and, best of all, no one telling her what she could or couldn't do. She could grow medicinal herbs, perform experiments, and finally live freely. What everyone else saw as punishment, Rei saw as paradise. Her entire life, poor health had forced everyone to treat her like fragile glass. But as a member of the Kei clan, she had been taught to stand on her own feet and overcome hardship. Now that she finally had a healthy body, she was determined to do exactly that. Meanwhile, Crown Prince Gui sent Shinu to make sure Ketsu could never harm Rei again. Shinu was shocked by the miserable place she had been exiled to, while Bunku believed she deserved it. Both expected to find Ketsu crying, but instead they found her happily clearing weeds. Rei warmly greeted them and explained that she was preparing the land to make her new home livable. She apologized for not serving tea because she had neither tea leaves nor a proper room. Before leaving, Shinu asked if she needed anything. Bunku expected a costly request, but Rei simply smiled and asked for a little salt. She had already collected rainwater and found potato salt was the only thing she still needed. As they walked away, Bunku couldn't help asking, "Is that really Ketsu?" Shinu remembered her strange words after the lion's judgment that she wasn't the same person anymore. Still, her transformation was almost impossible to believe. Meanwhile, Riri discovered that the Shoe Palace had completely abandoned them. The palace chef refused to give food to a disgraced maiden and the daughter of a dancer, leaving them to starve. Desperate, Riri sought help elsewhere and was approached by an elegant court lady from the Kin clan. The woman claimed that wise maiden Kinsaka wanted Riri to join her palace as a middle-ranking court lady. The promotion came with one condition: Riri had to make Ketsu's life miserable. Since Rei had become Crown Prince Gui's favorite, the Kin clan planned to earn his favor by publicly supporting Rei while tormenting Ketsu. Riri warned that Shinu and the Eagle Eyes might notice, but the attendant only laughed. She ordered Riri to secretly report Ketsu's every move, rewarding each useful report and every act of cruelty. To seal the deal, she handed Riri a bag of rice with a silver hairpin hidden inside and promised even more food if she cooperated. Remembering all the abuse Ketsu had put her through, Riri accepted. To her, it didn't feel like betrayal, it felt like justice. On her way back, Riri imagined finding Ketsu crying, covered in bugs, and begging for mercy. Instead, she froze in disbelief. The abandoned ruin had been transformed into a small farm. Rei had cleared the land, prepared the soil, and sorted useful plants. She cheerfully welcomed Riri home and served fried potatoes with sautéed wild mustard. Riri couldn't believe her eyes and wondered if Ketsu had used forbidden magic. Rei laughed and explained that the vegetables had simply sprouted from forgotten food inside the pantry. Since they lived beside the Ran clan's territory, she believed the soil was rich with energy that helped plants grow. When Reirin warned her about the area's dangerous insects and poisonous fungi, Rei became even more excited. While everyone else saw pests and mold, she saw medicine, food, and endless opportunities. Inside, Rei served Reirin freshly cooked potatoes, joking that without the salt and oil Shinu had provided, she would have seasoned the meal with her own tears. After one bite, Reirin became even more confused. This wasn't the cruel Keigetsu she remembered. Unable to understand the change, she demanded to know what kind of scheme she was hiding. Rei answered as honestly as the curse allowed. Ever since the Double Sevens festival, she had become a completely different person. Unfortunately, that was all she was able to say. Looking down at the warm meal Keigetsu had prepared for her, Reirin hesitated. Just a few hours earlier, she had accepted money to torture this woman. Now, for the first time, she wasn't sure she could go through with it. Meanwhile, the real Keigetsu was having the time of her life inside Rei's weak body. She soaked up all the love and attention from the co-palace attendants. Whenever they asked if she needed anything, she sweetly replied that she was perfectly fine. This was the life she had always dreamed of. If even a nobody like her could be loved this much, maybe she really could become the elegant butterfly everyone admired. Not long ago, that dream had seemed impossible. Keigetsu had grown up as a poor village girl with a small talent for forbidden magic. Her father was a disgraced sorcerer, and her mother held one of the lowest positions in the Shu clan. Buried under crushing debt, both of her parents eventually took their own lives, leaving Keigetsu to survive as a servant. Then, during a visit to the family estate, noble consort Gabi unexpectedly chose her as the Shu clan's maiden. Keigetsu believed the only reason she had been selected was because Gabi pitied her. Sadly, she lacked both the education and natural talent needed to survive in the ruthless inner court. From that day onward, everything only got worse. The attendants mocked her. The other maidens looked down on her. Even noble consort Gabi could do little more than watch helplessly. And then there was Rei. Beautiful, brilliant, graceful, and effortlessly perfect. Keigetsu hated her so much that even thinking about her made her blood boil. In her mind, every humiliation she suffered was somehow Rei's fault, so she made a promise to herself. She would steal everything Rei had, including Crown Prince Gu. Not long afterward, the Crown Prince himself visited and apologized for frightening Rei during the lion's judgment. Keigetsu leaned against Crown Prince Gui and sweetly apologized for making him worry. Gui noticed she was acting far more affectionate than usual, but Keigetsu was too happy to care. She was even grateful the real Rei was still alive. If the body swap was ever exposed, Rei could become her hostage, since Keigetsu was the only one who knew how to switch their bodies back. Confident she had won, Keigetsu returned to bed and complained about Rei's weak body. Soon, Tetsu arrived with Rei's training materials. Since her fever had lasted 2 days, everyone expected her to resume her normal routine. To Keigetsu's horror, Rei's normal meant staying up all night embroidering, copying 100 sutras, practicing dance, studying music, and doing stamina training. Even the Empress closely monitored her progress. Keigetsu desperately made excuses until they agreed to reduce the workload. Only then did Keigetsu realize the truth. Rei wasn't spoiled because everyone favored her, they protected her because she constantly pushed her fragile body to its limits. Keigetsu thought she had stolen a perfect life, but now she wasn't sure she could survive it. That night, Reirin returned to the Shu Palace hoping to sleep in her old room, but the attendants threw her into the rain, saying there was no place for a rat. With nowhere else to go, she decided that if betraying Keigetsu was the only way to escape her miserable life, then so be it. Reirin returned to the abandoned pantry and slept beside Rei. During the night, all the pain she had buried finally came out, and she quietly cried in her sleep. The only person who noticed was the very woman she had agreed to betray. Now Reirin was trapped in a painful dilemma. She had accepted food and rewards to make Keigetsu suffer, yet the only person showing her genuine kindness was Keigetsu herself. 4 days after waking up inside the body of the kingdom's most hated villainess, Rei wasn't searching for a way to return home. She had a much more important mission, getting a 6-pack. Every morning, she happily worked on the abandoned farmland, growing vegetables and medicinal herbs. For the first time in her life, she had a healthy body that didn't collapse from exhaustion. She could farm all day, exercise until sunset, and even stay up late without getting sick. After spending her old life feeling weak and constantly tired, Rei loved every second of becoming stronger. Sadly, she realized there was no way she'd have visible abs before the Ghost Festival, which was only 3 days away. Every maiden had to attend, meaning she would finally come face to face with Katsu, the woman now living in her original body. Since their meeting in the dungeon, Katsu hadn't contacted her again, and Rei had no idea what she was planning. Still, avoiding her forever wasn't an option. What Rei didn't know was that someone else was already making plans to ensure she never reached the festival alive. While Rei talked to herself during work, Riri asked what she was muttering about. Ever since they had been kicked out of the palace, Riri had been living with Rei in the abandoned pantry. Rei was genuinely happy to have her around, although Riri was completely confused by how cheerful her supposed master had become. One morning, as Rei prepared breakfast, Riri complained that she was sick of eating potatoes every single day. A moment later, she watched in horror as Rei casually reached into a beehive and collected fresh honey like getting stung was just another hobby. Ever since arriving at the abandoned estate, Rei had been in an unbelievably good mood. Riri tried everything to break her spirit, ruining the farm, interrupting her sewing, and making life as miserable as possible. Somehow, every prank only helped Rei get more work done. Nothing made her angry or upset. Riri needed to make Rei suffer because Gao had promised to help her escape the palace if she succeeded. The problem was, Rei completely misunderstood the situation and thought Riri was creatively helping her. She even hoped Riri would bring her useful things next time, like a kitchen knife or some fabric dye. The more time they spent together, the more Riri realized how different Rei had become. The old Katsu hated dirt, avoided work, and screamed at the sight of insects. This new Rei happily farmed all day, helped with chores, and casually picked up bugs with her bare hands. At breakfast, Rei offered Riri the bigger potato, but Riri quietly took the smaller one. As they ate, Riri had a horrifying realization: this new Katsu was actually kind of adorable. Embarrassed by the thought, she quickly pushed it away. Seeing Riri's conflicted expression, Rei assumed all the bullying had been an attempt to make her cry or cough up blood. Instead of getting angry, she kindly asked Riri to stop and told her she was an honest, hard-working court lady who deserved to return to her normal duties. Riri was speechless. The old Katsu had ruined her life for an entire year. She asked if Rei could guarantee her job, income, and safety if she served her again. Rei sadly admitted she couldn't. Oddly enough, seeing Rei look so disappointed made Riri feel guilty. Confused by her feelings, Riri ran away and met Geu, who was furious that Rei was happily enjoying her exile. Riri insisted she had done everything she was told and hadn't been won over by Rei's kindness. Geu then handed Riri a dagger and ordered her to bring back proof even if she had to stab Rei. Horrified, Riri refused, knowing she could be executed for attacking a maiden. Geu didn't care. She reminded Riri that accepting the stolen silver hairpin had made her a pawn. If she refused, Geu would accuse her of theft, and no one would believe the daughter of a dancer over an ivory silk court lady. After kicking Riri into a muddy puddle, Geu declared she wouldn't get another meal until the job was done. Meanwhile, Crown Prince Yum teased Shinu for still wearing the same dead fish expression he had when they first met years ago. Back then, Shinu, his younger half-brother, had casually described the battlefield as a place where people simply killed each other. Instead of being disturbed, the prince had found Shinu's blunt honesty strangely amusing. Back in the present, Shinu questioned why the crown prince cared so much about Rei. The prince explained that Rei's quiet courage had impressed him from the start. Unlike every other noblewoman, she hadn't been intimidated by his powerful dragon aura. Still, both men agreed that something had changed since the Double Sevens festival. Even the infamous villainous Katsu had become unusually kind after surviving the lion's judgment. However, her past crimes, including falsely accusing an innocent eunuch and nearly getting him executed, made it almost impossible to believe she had truly changed. Before they could discuss it further, Bunko rushed in with alarming news. An eagle eye had spotted a court lady in faded scarlet robes heading toward Rei's hut with a dagger. The guards couldn't enter the maiden court without permission, but they knew exactly where she was going. Completely unaware of the danger, Rei was outside watching ants work together and feeling useless because she still hadn't found a way to help Riri. When she returned to the hut, she found Riri angrily slashing one of her own robes with a dagger. Through tears, Riri blamed Katsu for ruining her life. She pointed the blade at Rei, saying she was tired of always being mocked as the dancer's daughter. Having reached her breaking point, she charged at Rei in desperation. The dagger flashed through the air and sliced off a lock of Rei's hair. Riri raised the blade for another strike, but before she could move again, Shinu burst into the hut and stopped her. The crown prince had realized that his public dislike of Katsu might encourage others to attack her, so he had secretly sent Shinu to keep an eye on the situation. Violence inside the inner court was a serious crime, and anyone who spilled blood there faced severe punishment. Shinu demanded to know what had happened, but Riri was too overwhelmed to speak. She simply stood there crying. Before anyone could accuse her, Rei calmly smiled and claimed she had asked Riri to trim her split ends. Even Shinu was caught off guard. He reminded Rei that everyone already believed she was a villain. Acting like a kind, selfless person would only make her seem even more suspicious. Rei simply shrugged and insisted she wasn't protecting anyone. She was only stating the facts. No matter what Riri had intended to do, the only thing the dagger had actually cut was a few damaged strands of hair. Since no one had been hurt, there was no crime to investigate. Hearing those words, Riri couldn't stop staring at Rei. She wondered for what felt like the 100th time. Who in the world is this woman? Rei politely asked Shinu and Bunko to leave so she could help Riri change into dry clothes. As the two men walked away, Shinu became even more convinced that something was seriously different about Katsu. Since explaining all of this to the crown prince would be a nightmare, he quietly decided Bunko could deal with writing the report instead. Back inside the hut, Rei asked Riri to remove her ruined clothes and turn around. Terrified, Riri assumed she was about to be whipped. Instead, she felt something soft rest on her shoulders. Rei had made her a brand new robe in brilliant scarlet, the color reserved for high-ranking court ladies. Riri's hands immediately began to tremble. Someone of her status had no right to wear such prestigious colors. But Rei couldn't care less about palace rules. To her, Riri wasn't some low-ranking servant. She was her precious personal court lady. Rei was simply happy that she had finally found something meaningful to give her. Riri could barely believe what she was hearing. Then Rei shared what she proudly called the 3 secrets to staying healthy. Wash your hands, keep yourself clean, and smile whenever you can. If Riri wanted to stay by her side, she would have to practice all 3. As far as Rei was concerned, Riri hadn't really attacked her. She had only accidentally given her a free haircut. Case closed. Rei gently lifted Riri's chin and told her to stand tall with her head held high. She said Riri's mother would never want to see her neglect herself, adding that she must have been an incredible woman who survived in a foreign land through sheer strength and determination. Those words shattered Riri's emotional walls. She remembered her mother giving her the exact same advice as a child. Unable to hold back any longer, she burst into tears. Sobbing, Riri apologized for everything, for insulting Rei, bullying her, ruining her clothes, and even cutting her hair. She collapsed into Rei's arms, and Rei quietly hugged her, finally understanding how cornered and hopeless Riri had been all this time. From that moment on, Riri no longer wanted to escape Katsu. Instead, she swore to stay by Rei's side forever. She decided to return Gyu's stolen hairpin and never betray Rei again, even if it meant being accused of theft and executed by the Kin clan. But Rei had no intention of letting it end there. Someone had stolen Riri's smile and convinced her that her life was worthless. Rei wanted one thing above all else: to find the fool who dared threaten her precious court lady. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the palace, the real Katsu lay burning with fever inside Rei's original body. As the relentless illness grew worse, she finally understood how much Rei had suffered every single day. A terrifying thought crossed her mind. Am I really going to die like this? Trapped inside Rei's frail body, Katsu finally understood her daily suffering. Every breath was painful, yet Rei had attended every ritual despite constantly running a high fever, never once skipping her duties. Even noble consort Shu, who admired Rei's determination, had no idea how sick she truly was. Desperate, Keigetsu searched for medicine but found none, broke down in tears, and summoned magical flames to demand Rei's help. Meanwhile, Rei waited for Riri to return after she insisted on personally returning Lady Gao's hairpin. During the wait, Rei was shocked to learn that Lady Seika had orchestrated the harassment, despite always believing her to be proud but honorable. Living inside Keigetsu's healthy body felt like a miracle. For the first time, Rei could walk without collapsing or losing her breath, making her realize how precious good health was and even feel a little jealous that Keigetsu had always taken it for granted. She couldn't help thinking the Empress would be amazed to see her this way. Rei remembered the Empress once telling her that the only quality she truly wanted in a maiden was grit. The only reason Rei had been chosen was because she never gave up, no matter how sick she was. Just then, Keigetsu contacted Rei through the magical flames. She was breathing so heavily that Rei immediately realized she was hyperventilating. Her fever still hadn't gone down, so she desperately begged Rei for help. Staying calm, Rei told her to cover her mouth with both hands and slow her breathing. Once Keigetsu calmed down, Rei instructed her to mix medicines number 9 and 15 from the top left shelf of the medicine cabinet and inhale the mixture later. Keigetsu was horrified to realize this exhausting life was simply Rei's normal routine. Even so, Rei apologized and suggested they end the body swap because she felt guilty about making Keigetsu suffer. Keigetsu, however, wasn't interested in giving up. Everyone was treating her like royalty while she was in Rei's body, and she was enjoying every second of it. She even bragged that the usually arrogant Lady Seika had sent her an incense burner as a get-well gift. Instead of being impressed, Rei immediately warned her not to accept it so easily because it could be dangerous. Keigetsu brushed the warning aside, convinced Rei was just jealous. She wanted Rei to continue suffering inside her body, believing she was nothing more than an unnoticed sewer rat with no beauty or talent. Rei gently stopped her, telling Keigetsu not to insult herself like that. After all, she had been blessed with a healthy body. Keigetsu, however, believed that meant nothing. She complained that she lacked everything that truly mattered to become a maiden: beauty, luck, admirers confessing their love, and even a trustworthy friend. In her eyes, her parents had never given her anything valuable. Rei smiled and disagreed. She told Keigetsu that her parents had given her a wonderful name and asked what wish she had made during the Double Seventh Festival. Rei admitted that every year she wished for only one thing: to become healthy. After experiencing Keigetsu's healthy body herself, she finally felt that maybe miracles really could happen. Then she realized something beautiful. The character in Keigetsu's name represented the first part of the word comet combined with the character for heart. To Rei, it was a magnificent name, and she sincerely thanked Keigetsu, calling her the miracle comet that had changed her life. Hoping they could understand each other, Rei asked if they could finally meet face to face and have an honest conversation. Keigetsu refused without hesitation. She believed the body swap existed to balance their unfair lives, yet only Rei seemed happy after the exchange. Once her own health recovered, she planned to throw Rei away like yesterday's leftovers and couldn't wait to see how long Rei's good fortune would last. With that, the magical flame disappeared. Later that evening, Rei asked Riri whether she had managed to return Lady Gao's hairpin. Riri explained that no matter how long she waited, Gao never appeared at their meeting place. Since no one had come to arrest her either, Rei guessed the other side had decided she was too risky to deal with and quietly backed out. That meant they would have to settle things with Lady Seika another way. Luckily, the Ghost Festival was only 3 days away, and Lady Seika was certain to attend. Although noble consort Shu had said Rei didn't have to participate, Rei decided that also meant she was free to join if she wished. Riri worried that none of the upper court ladies would agree to accompany her, but Rei had already made up her mind. She planned to sew a stunning scarlet outfit in just 3 days and personally take Riri as her companion. After all, anyone who dared hurt her precious court lady's feelings deserved a little payback. Elsewhere, Shinu prepared to update Prince Gilmei about everything happening in the palace, only to discover the prince already knew Keigetsu had protected one of the court ladies. Shinu believed Keigetsu might genuinely be trying to change for the better, but Gilmei wasn't convinced. He suspected she was simply copying Rei's kindness without understanding it. He even reminded everyone that he had already warned Ketsu that if she ever performed another fake imitation of Rei, he would personally separate her head from her shoulders. Still, until the lion's judgment delivered its verdict, everyone had to wait. Watching the weakened Rei grow frailer by the day only made Gilmei's anger toward Ketsu burn even hotter. Seeing Rei so helpless reminded him of the terrifying moment she had disappeared over the handrail that night, a memory he simply couldn't forget. The next morning, Reirin woke up to find Rei already hard at work, adjusting a beautiful ceremonial outfit. She was stunned that someone who looked so delicate could stay up all night sewing every single stitch by hand. Rei had happily pulled an all-nighter because she was excited to finally give Reirin something special. Just imagining Reirin standing beside her as her court lady filled her with pride. Embarrassed by all the compliments, Reirin quickly told Rei to stop praising her. She knew exactly how people saw her. Just the day before, while on her way to meet Lady Geu, several blazing court ladies had mocked her by calling her a miserable red rat. Naturally, Reirin shot them a glare sharp enough to make them think twice. She admitted their insults didn't ruin her mood, but she still felt the brilliant scarlet robe was far too grand for someone like her. She had never been taught the manners or elegance expected of an upper court lady. The moment Rei heard that, she immediately asked if Reirin had stood up for herself. When Reirin proudly admitted she had even clicked her tongue at them until they backed off, Rei's eyes lit up. She grabbed the outfit back with a grin and declared that it wasn't nearly fancy enough. She planned to decorate it with colorful embroidery and turn it into the most dazzling scarlet garment anyone had ever seen. If upper court ladies could wear embroidered robes during ceremonies, Rei refused to settle for ordinary. She vowed to make Reirin's outfit the most dazzling of them all. But looking beautiful wasn't enough. Rei wanted Reirin to feel confident too. She immediately planned a training program with posture exercises, breathing practice, scripture study, calligraphy, and embroidery, determined to help her become the finest court lady in the palace. Feeling guilty for only receiving Rei's kindness, Reirin was surprised when Rei asked for just one favor in return, to teach her the famous Sagdian world dance. Though doubtful Rei could master it, Reirin eventually agreed. On the day of the Ghost Festival, Lady Seika found the ceremony disappointingly dull. After Ketsu's curse disrupted the purification ritual, the festival had been scaled down, and Rei's absence annoyed Seika the most. She had always believed only she and Rei were worthy of dancing before the prince, and even dreamed of standing beside Empress Rei as her noble consort. Dismissing every other maiden as talentless, she especially looked down on Ketsu as nothing more than an untalented sewer rat. Tired of ignoring her, Seika decided the festival would be the perfect opportunity to make Ketsu suffer, and waited eagerly for her arrival. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.
Shawty, give me a reason. You know that